Hi, I'm Michael Welch, President and Chief Executive Officer of Rocky Mountain High Brands. Welcome to our first podcast of 2019. Today we have a really diverse show for you, so let's get started. First of all, I'd like to introduce Jonathan Miller, who is the General Counsel of the U.S. Hemp Roundtable, who is joining us via Skype from Lexington, Kentucky. So, Matt, if you can show Jonathan to us. Good afternoon, Jonathan. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
My head is even larger than normal.
That's always a great feeling. I have that problem every time I try on a cap or a hat. So tell us about the impact of the 2018 Farm Bill and the passage of it.
Well, it's hard to underestimate. It's been something that we've been working for I've been working for about 7 years, and others had been working on for decades. But the era of hemp prohibition is over. We have seen decades where hemp was confused wrongly with marijuana, where hemp products were treated as if they were controlled substances. And the 2018 Farm Bill says now and forevermore that hemp and hemp products like cannabidiol, CBD, are no longer considered controlled substances, that they're agricultural commodities, food products, and the DEA has no right to interfere. And a lot of other good things in the Farm Bill, but overall, this is something that's going to give a whole lot of comfort to people that are in the industry, around the industry, or interested in doing business, whether they're banks or social media outlets or credit card companies. Type of people have been afraid because they didn't want to deal with controlled substances. But now, because it's clearly mandated that it's not a controlled substance, hemp and hemp CBD have just a super bright future.
So how long do you think it will take those type of industries to become educated in the 2018 Farm Bill and to gain acceptance of the legalization of hemp and CBD?
Well, we've got an education project ahead of us, and we've gotten to where we are because of education. So much of what we call, quote, lobbying is educating, and so much of that in this industry is sharing what the difference is between hemp and marijuana. And we've already begun the process, but it's programs like this, and it's people who are watching, getting on their social media and emailing their friends, and letting folks in the banking world and social media world understand what the new rules are, that we'll see hopefully a domino effect.
Well, it's certainly something that's impacted our company, as you well know, in terms of its impact, in terms of how it's affected us on the banking side, on our CBD subsidiary, how it's impacted our credit card processing, how it's impacted us on social media in terms of being able to advertise our CBD subsidiary. So we're looking forward to those changes coming through, because we're one of those companies that are looking forward to that education and the changes to flow through as a result of the 2018 Farm Bill.
Yeah, no, we've had some big success. We've come a long way, but we still have work to do, and this is part of the reason why I spend a lot of time talking to computer screens like this and helping get this message out, because private businesses can do what they want, and we can't force anybody to do business with anyone else unless there's some discrimination involved. So it's so important that people are comfortable with the rules and understand the law and have comfort in it.
So can you address the FDA and their stance on CBD and CBD products?
Sure. About 3.5 years ago, the FDA put a question and answer document on their website that indicated that their tentative non-binding position was that CBD could not be sold as a food additive or a nutritional supplement. This is something that we disagree with, and we think their reasoning was wrong, but it's something that they've never enforced on. They've never sent any warning letters to companies telling them to stop selling CBD unless those companies were improperly making disease remediation claims, like claiming that their products could cure cancer or the like. And so we've lived in this cloud of sorts for 3 years where the FDA had said something but never really took action on it. And in public and private statements, we're saying, this is something that is beyond our interest and resources. We got a lot of other battles to fight through. The day of the Farm Bill, the FDA commissioner reiterated that position, but then for the very first time came out and said that we are now going to seriously pursue a path by which we, in the end, may start recognizing CBD as a dietary supplement and a food additive. They've invited the public to participate, and our U.S. Hemp Roundtable, which is the industry's trade association, will be at the table, and we're very hopeful that we'll be able to not only proceed on this front, but proceed really expeditiously. Challenge is right now that with the government shutdown, the FDA is not only not focused on this issue, they're not focused on a lot of things. There's real crises going on at the FDA with whether or not they're going to be able to inspect food, some of the most basic functions of government. So we need to be patient, but again, what the FDA has signaled is a very healthy path, and then one that we're hopeful to achieve a real success in.
So with what Congress has done with the federal legislation and the FDA's role in this, can you explain what the state's role is with regards to where the states step in regulating hemp and CBD?
So what the Farm Bill does is it sets a federal law, but it does not preempt state law. States can make the ultimate decision as to whether or not they're going to allow people to grow hemp in their jurisdiction or sell hemp products in their jurisdiction. We have seen 41 states now adopt pilot programs under the previous regime, the 2014 Farm Bill, and this new legislation, 2018 Farm Bill, provides for states to now make permanent plans with the USDA for the USDA's approval to grow and cultivate hemp in their states. Kentucky submitted their plan the very day that Donald Trump signed the legislation, and we expect many states to follow their lead and start submitting plans to grow. Now, in terms of the sale of products, hemp products like CBD, states can have a position that's more restrictive than the federal government. So we are going to have to continue our efforts to pursue strong legislation in states where there have been issues. Two of them at the top of our list are California and Ohio. In California, the Department of Public Health, and in Ohio, the Board of Pharmacy, both issued statements a few months ago saying that you could only purchase CBD in marijuana dispensaries. And that's something that's not good because there's millions of people out there who want to buy CBD. They don't want to go to a marijuana dispensary. They want to go to their store, they want to get it online, and et cetera. So we are pursuing, the roundtable is pursuing really intensive lobbying campaigns in both of those states, as well as some more, to make sure that legislatures there will pass laws to make clear that the retail sale of CBD is permitted.
So, Jonathan, can you explain what the purpose of the roundtable is?
Sure. The roundtable was started to pursue legislation to permanently legalize hemp and hemp products federally in the states. So we've achieved our number one goal, and now we are focused on state government issues. But we're also going to be dealing a great deal with this FDA path that they've set forward. We also helped to set up an organization called the U.S. Hemp Authority, which is a certification standards organization, which provides for high standards, best practices, and self-regulation for the industry. Companies that go through our intensive self-regulatory process and pass a third-party audit, will be able to put a certification seal on their products indicating to consumers that the products are safe, and to law enforcement that the products are legal. It's important that any nascent industry, particularly one that can be confused with marijuana, holds itself to the highest standards, and we are really focused on having an industry that can hold its head up and be able to demonstrate to the public and to regulators and to law enforcement that we're taking our own self-regulation very seriously.
Well, thank you for that explanation. That's helpful. Well, I appreciate your time today, Jonathan. Thank you for joining us. That's a great summary of what's gone on with the Farm Bill and with the states, and I appreciate you joining us today, and look forward to seeing you next week in Austin.
Terrific. We look forward to seeing you there, and thanks for helping us share this message with your viewers.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Take care. All right, so let's move on to our other guest that we have today. So we have Alejandro Montano, who I asked how to pronounce his name, and he asked me what language I should, if I should go for what, France or
Spanish,
right. or Spanish. And so I said, I should have just said Oklahoman. And we have Carlos Frias, who's playing with his phone.
Sorry.
And Christian Vega, so
how you guys doing?
My co-host.
Glad to be here.
Christian doesn't remember who Ed McMahon. You don't remember who Ed McMahon is?
Yeah, we had that conversation.
Yeah,
Ed McMahon.
It's the wrestler.
Yeah.
No, is that the sweepstakes guy?
No.
Yeah, well, he was the sweepstakes guy, but he was also Johnny Carson's co-host.
That's right.
I made you myself again.
I remember that.
So. Alejandro, welcome.
Thank you.
You've been on before, but you were on Skype.
Right, now I'm in person.
Yeah, thank you for joining us in person. Carlos
thank you
has
for
been
having
on
me.
before. He's a veteran.
Yeah.
Right. He's a pro now.
He's a pro.
Right.
That's right.
Everybody knows him when he gets here. Get the sparkling water ready, cold and chill, and ready to go.
That's right. So,
or ice.
well, welcome. We have a full show. So, Alejandro, we're excited that you're here representing CBD Life, and we're very excited about the project. We've now got it kicked off, and let's talk about where we are in that. So,
Sure. As you guys know, right at the end of the year, the 24th on Christmas, it was Christmas Eve, I believe, the 24th, we got our official first purchase order to get things started for 2 million cans. And through that process, the Mexican team was working in Mexico to do a lot of the promotions and establishing shelf space for the products. So that's on their side of the border. Our part of the border, on our side of the border, we're working with the co-packers, the ingredient houses, and getting the all the products, all the items to produce a can ready to go. That's what we're working on right now, and getting that done as soon as possible. They want to get these all the beverages and some of the stores that they already have sort of purchase orders lined up. Mostly pharmacies right now. I know Junko was on the in the air in the Mexican news and mentioned several of the pharmacies that he's working with and other big contracts. But one of the hurdles that we're going through right now, it's the aluminum cans. Everybody knows that tariffs came in and the aluminum is in shortage right now. We're having a little bit of issues with that, but nothing that we can't solve. So we started with a sort of an ugly day on Monday, and we kind of coming out with a good day today of finding that the production of the cans have become less weeks. So we were looking at horrible dates.
Right.
And so the Mexican team, Alejandro and his team, was very excited that when we broke the news, hey, we can do it this way, and you can get in there pretty soon if we want to go this route. And so they're up to do that way. So that's where we are right now.
So, Alejandro, tell me about what your vision for these drinks are.
Right. Well, again, thanks for having us here. And we're very appreciative of Rocky Mountain High trying to, make this process go as elegantly and smoothly as possible. And we're very excited to be kicking off the project now. So
Well, thank you.
We know that there is a huge potential for sales in Mexico. It's one of Coca-Cola's largest markets, and we're trying to emulate, a lot of their products as well, with our drinks, and the differentiator that, hey, it is a cannabis-infused drink, again, with no THC, only CBD, and, trying to provide users an alternative, right, to what's currently out there. So we believe that the potential is very large, that we'll be able to scale our sales and production pretty fast. We were very conservative when we issued our estimates in the beginning, and now, we're getting increasing confidence that these volumes and sales are going to keep ramping up pretty soon. Exceeding our expectations pretty soon.
Can you?
That's great.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about how the law was in Mexico? I know, Jonathan was talking about the hemp bill, and I think that you guys went through the same concept with COFEPRIS approving the law, and
correct,
and explain to our viewers that you were the company who got most of the permits.
And just for clarification, COFEPRIS is the Mexican equivalent of our FDA.
That's correct.
So it was sort of going hand in hand. I mean, we got this passed just now on our side of the border,
right?
But you guys were working on it for a year or so. I mean, it's been a long process.
So from what we've just heard, Mexico is ahead of the United States in terms of CBD being accepted by COFEPRIS.
Right. That's correct.
In Mexico.
Which we believe that the U.S. is going in that direction as well, if it's not already there. It's just that there's differing opinions, but in essence, it's the same position that CBD is not cannabis. I mean, it's not marijuana. It comes from hemp, which is cannabis in itself, and contains no THC, which is the psychoactive ingredient. So, the Mexican government recognizes the medicinal value of CBD, to a certain extent, and acknowledges as well that there's a lot of research going on, to explore further, its effects. But right now it is proven even by the World Health Organization that it's an innocuous substance and that it has some medicinal value. So Mexico is following that path, in terms of its position towards cannabis.
And even though our drinks are not going to have any THC, because that's part of how we started this whole contract, I do believe that Mexico also approved to have a 1% on the beverages as far as THC, if that was something in the future that we could work with you guys, but which is their step ahead of us. That's something that eventually I think America is going to catch on to and allow to have some sort of right now the limit is 0.03. And that might 0.3, and so that might increase.
But I don't think it's going to go up any higher than that.
And again, we don't know, but
I think if anything, they're going to try to bring it down.
Yeah.
But
and sure, but Mexico is definitely put themselves on the market on a different level, I believe. So. Yeah. So I got some of the investors reach out to us, and a lot of the shareholders and reach out to us. There's a gentleman named John Laudo. He actually sent me a text, and he wanted me to ask you guys a question, specifically Alejandro.
Sure.
He wanted to know, what do you guys think about the and I think you already answered this, but about the market in Mexico. What are your expectations? How are they going to respond, if they already responded to the beverages, even though they don't have it yet? What do you think is going to go? How do you think it's going to turn out to be?
In terms of demand and sales?
The demand and the acceptance of it, like, is Mexico ready for drinks like this?
Of course. I mean, we've seen a lot of acceptance from the market already in cannabis-derived products in general. I think the tendency in beverages from what we've seen is going towards healthy options and sugar-free options. And, cannabis is one of the cannabis and sex is one of the most are some of the most sought after topics in social media, which is going to be one of our fortes in terms of communicating and advertising our products. And we've seen that there's already a oversubscription of interest in that regard.
Right.
We've thrown out some teasers on social media as to what our product would look like, just to build anticipation, and the response has been fantastic, and we're very confident that we're going to exceed our initial estimates.
Great. That's great.
That's great.
That's great.
It's contagious.
Oh man, I got caught up to that. Yeah. Well, that's good to know. I mean, that's that they're, a lot of our shareholders do not cross the border, go to Mexico and whatnot, and they don't know about the market. And that's why we wanted you to be here and explain to them how that works.
Of course, part of me being here is to provide certainty not only to your investors, because in the end, whatever benefits you guys, it makes us stronger on our side as well. But it's to guarantee everyone that we have boots on the ground in the United States. We're very serious about what we're doing, and we're very anal about our processes, and we want to make sure that everything runs according to plan. So we're very pleased to have seen that you guys have all your ducks in a row, and very well organized planning. And this is a new industry, a new product for everyone, and we're very confident that everything is going to be great in shape. And
so how many products you guys got going on? I know that Carlos is working the other side of the not the beverages, but the other part of the products of CBD. How many other products are you going to be bringing into Mexico
in total for the whole CBD line and the beverages?
Yes,
I think we're talking between about 26 different SKUs.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
And which one is it that the ones, Carlos, you guys are working with? The tinctures?
Tinctures, topicals, soft gels, and candy, basically.
Candy? Okay.
So are they distributed through the same distribution network? And
that's correct.
As the beverages are?
Yeah, the beverages are not going to be in the whole pharma chain that we have, distribution chain.
Right.
Some of them will be, and we have confirmed some of the pharmacies that we have close contracts with that they want the beverages and will be sold there, like Farmacias del Ahorro, Nutriza, we're in Benavides as well, and others. This keeps changing every day, and activity in Mexico is just starting to kick off, after the New Year and the holiday break. But we have confirmed, and we're in very advanced talks with Walmart as well. So it's going to be a combination of retail, pharma, and convenience. Right. And some other clients that we're in very advanced talks, we can't reveal their names right now. Right. We're under NDA, but as soon as we get the news, we'll let you guys know.
Okay.
Absolutely. So what do you think the industry is going to be like? I know we talked about you guys were in a article about CBD Life taking on Red Bull and Monster, and Junko was in a review about that. So they talked about how big the industry is already with those two items, the Red Monster and Red Bull, and they felt like that the Rocket High itself being an energy, family, it's gonna give them the run for their money. So how do you guys feel about that?
I think that the bar is very high.
I know. It's
it's rocket high.
We didn't say it. You guys didn't say it. But the news was the ones that put you guys in that place. Of course, we were very proud of it. But it's also a little bit intimidating. You're going against a big. Well,
it's
players.
Exciting. More than intimidating. We'll do what we can. We have all of our ducks in a row, and we're very confident that the product is going to be a success.
That's great.
I think it's very exciting. I think you have the resources to be successful with that.
Absolutely.
So it's more of a Goliath taking on another Goliath as opposed to us trying to take them on, which we've already tried to do in the United States. So
yeah, exactly.
It's more of a challenge for a company our size. So we're excited to have that formulation in Rocket High and to be a part of that success. Right.
No, we think that California line is going to be a huge success as well, both the lemonade and the iced tea. We're very confident, very excited about this.
Which one do you think was going to have the most demand?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. They appeal to different demographics, different consumer profiles. It's hard to tell which one's going to stick more.
And I believe one of your goals at CBD Live was to make these drinks available for every citizen of Mexico.
Right.
You didn't focus on either on status or whatnot. You focus on the whole entire country, correct?
Right. We want to be able. I mean, if we want to compete with the big guys, we got to make sure that our drinks are accessible from a economic or purchase power parity
Right.
standpoint, and that's something that you guys know.
Yeah,
you
very
know,
well. Trust us, you know that very well.
It's primordial. If the economics don't make sense, then there's nothing to do there.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So, Carlos,
Yes, sir.
we're adding some drinks to your portfolio.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty exciting.
It is. We're excited.
So, why don't you tell us about the flavors that you've chosen?
What did we pick, Chris?
Grapefruit and watermelon right now.
Watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's more. There was grapefruit, watermelon, the ones that we got approved by Carlos right off the bat. Well, the second try, and then we also have cucumber. We also have strawberry, and we also had lime. But the grapefruit and the watermelon, you were pretty static about it.
Those
so
are the
said.
ones that have passed the test.
Yeah.
so far.
Okay.
We call it the Carlos test.
Okay.
So.
So you're going to go to market with 2 flavors initially?
2 flavors. Yeah.
Okay.
We just wanted to keep it simple.
Okay.
I don't want to.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. If we release more, if we want to do more flavors, release them slowly. People focus more on the release rather than being overwhelmed. I think, anyways. With all 5 or 6, or Christian kept bringing us.
Hey, I just
Seemed like
put options on the table for you, man.
Christian will give you options.
Absolutely.
Christian gives us options all
Right.
the time.
Absolutely.
It's a little mind blowing.
But what made you decide to go into the drinks industry? I know you thought about this before. What do you think about the drinks of CBD in America? We know Mexico.
What I think about the drink? Yeah, I think it's going to be big. I think that, I don't think that we didn't really want to be in the beverage business, right? Because it's like shipping water around the country, and it's all about logistics and distribution. But if it's a CBD product or a cannabinoid product, then it becomes more interesting and makes a little more sense, right? So I think it just made sense for us to add another product to the portfolio and be selective of the products that we bring onto our portfolio, and bring products on that are unique and that we can scale production, and that we can, so it's it just made sense in a lot of ways. And I think the drink industry is going to be big. Yeah, I think we haven't really scratched the
most
surface.
reports that I've read as well, mention drinks being a huge
I agree.
It's very fashionable.
I agree.
Consumes any cannabinoid outside of smoking, finding alternatives to drink them or eat them.
Yeah. Yeah, because, this is a process that we talked about for, I don't know, 6 months. When we
Been a while.
It's been a while. We started talking, and I recall Carlos was like, yeah, you're getting too cute with me. You're getting too cute with me. Nah. And then eventually he'll come back, I don't know. And then they're like, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple.
It's just because he had a lot of flavors, Christian had a lot of flavors.
Some
are good, some are...
Yeah. And then I
gotta
get one
go
text
through.
message, and then you're like, hey, let's do it. We got to do this. We got to do it, man. It's going to be big industry. It's going to be huge, the CBD industry. So, and you're already big enough with the CBD itself, in that industry.
we're doing all right.
You do all right. Not too bad, huh?
Supposedly he has an imitation of everybody. So
That I do?
No, Christian does.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I haven't seen mine yet. So
Have you seen mine?
I think he just did it.
Was that it? Did I miss that?
Yeah. I didn't perfect it. I didn't perfect it yet. So
I think he just did a mini version of it.
Got it. Okay.
I don't know if it's a curse or a gift, right? But I could make a lot of money.
I'll take
too.
that as a compliment.
It is. Yeah. Oh yeah. So, but yeah, we're excited to get those. And as far as production wise, we're actually lined up with the same production time as Mexico.
Well, that's great.
So we're piggy riding with Mexico and putting everything together. So we hope to have brand new releases about the same time. Which
So-
would be the Green Lotus drink.
So, as you two know, since you've been there, we've been very fortunate as a company to sign an agreement with a local co-packer, and it's a great facility. We've got a great relationship with the owner of the facility, and we've signed the agreement. We've put the deposit down on the run for CBD Life. So we're squared away, and we're looking forward to a long-term relationship with them. And they're local, so it's I think it's going to be very beneficial for our company, and for CBD Life, and
Absolutely.
Good. We look forward to it.
for Green Lotus. So
the Green Lotus drink, I think, is going to be, a big hit in America because, through the whole 6 months process, it wasn't just obviously the flavors. I mean, there was the specifics that Carlos felt that were unique and wanted to be achieved. And, we started sparkling water and then we thought just 5 mgs. He was thinking, man, I don't know if I want to go up and down. And then based on the industry and based on the demand, and he decided to go with 25 mgs of CBD to provide the best available CBD beverage in the industry. With 0 calories, it's and it tastes very well.
Make me want to drink it, Christian.
I know. I got to get more samples coming, so you're good to go.
we need more samples.
Yeah, so. and we feel very confident as well as a company ourselves that joining with Green Lotus and his team of salespeople. I mean, he's got a great a great sales program. Correct? What do you call it? You have a name for it.
Our sales organization? Yeah, we have at least we'd like to tell ourselves that we're building a world-class sales organization. I think we got it figured out a little bit.
Yeah, I think you guys do an amazing job. You guys did an amazing job, so.
Appreciate it, thank you.
You have done a great job.
We look forward to getting some drinks out there.
So Alejandro, when do you think we're going to cross borders with this stuff, whenever you guys establish a good foundation in Mexico? I'm sure that, and we talked about this before, you work in the European market right now. You're doing some CBD stuff over there in France. And I know that you have
some hemp R&D.
Yeah, I'm sure, right? But I know that you also have contacts in America as well, and you also have done business. You went to school here in America as well, and so. You don't just do Mexico.
No. Actually, I'm developing the role of international business development director in CBD Life. So our effort is to be a cannabinoid company and to grow into different parts of the world. And adapting our product line to every single culture. Because you can't, like, the same products in the U.S. would not precisely do exactly the same way in Mexico than in other countries like in Europe, right? So we're constantly seeking for new commercial opportunities and planning for the future.
Right. That involves us, right?
Of course.
Right. We have mastered this formulation. Trust me. You ain't going nowhere else. I'll guarantee you. So, as far as the American market, do you see the rocket high in the California limonada and the California black tea? Do you see it as a sort of like a Topo Chico? How it cross borders? Because you do have 53 million Hispanic Latinos that live in America who are loyal and very, they're dependent on some of these products from Mexico that cross the border, and they look for those things. So once you establish a foundation in Mexico, you obviously they're going to be asking for it over here.
Right. So. What's interesting is that Topo Chico is not very well known in interior Mexico. It's actually something more in the border.
A lot of the brands in the United States that are quote unquote ethnic brands, they're not even they're not made in Mexico. Right. And in Mexico, those products aren't consumed.
Not even known. Right.
They're not even known. You know what I mean? And the brands that are known and consumed in Mexico are not sold in the United States.
Right.
Even if you go to duty free, in any of the airports, like in Mexico, you won't be able to find the regular tequilas or mezcales that you can find down there,
Trust me. I know about that.
Right.
Trust me. But so you see it crossing borders?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that would be more work for us, Michael.
That would be.
I mean, we need to make sure that we follow all the rules, in the United States in terms of labeling and because all this product, these beverages are adapted for the Mexican market.
Yeah,
right.
So
So price on you is that when we adapted for the Mexican market, one of the things that I was doing, and Michael, we were working on having it to be adapted as far as FDA rules. So we follow all the FDA rules.
So it should be the same, but that's a Jonathan Miller.
And we
asked him.
Yeah,
we work
Trust
with
me.
an FDA attorney that reviews all of our labeling.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we make
that's
sure
perfect.
that we're in compliance.
That's
So,
fantastic.
Yeah, just for us to have it in America, even though it's going to Mexico, we ensure ourselves that we were within code and within standards of the FDA and how to label it. And there's differences as far as the Mexican label and the American label. But we did that. We do that for every product we have. It didn't matter. We had a contract back in the day with Canada, and the biggest Canada issue was the caffeine. Do you remember that? And so we had to adapt to the Canadians' laws and regulations on the caffeine. But before even cross borders to Canada, we had adapted to the FDA. So all your products are FDA approval. You know. And I say that in a way that we adapted all the rules and regulations, but we do not have to have an FDA approval for your beverages because we kept the pH below 4.2, which allow us to not have an FDA approval for that. So they're looking for microactivity, bacteria, and stuff like that. So we had that was part of most of the investments that we did as far as the R&D to continue to have that beverage to be a good 2-year beverage, clean, and it maintain its shelf life. That was the biggest deal that we had to work with. So, and to do that, we had to go through the FDA, not COFEPRIS. So, So you guys are good for that. So whenever you're ready, bring it over.
Yeah. No, that's great. And
trust me.
And just to answer your question, we think that it's going to be very popular amongst the Hispanic population, but we're not going to be limited to only that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate your time today. I think we've covered a lot of territory, and we've pretty much filled our half-hour slot today. So does anyone have any closing comments? Carlos, do you have any sage words of wisdom for us?
Words of wisdom. Let's see here.
Yeah, please do. Give us a quote. We'll call it the Carlos quote for the day.
You want my Confucius quote of the day?
Why not?
Here's a Confucius quote of the day.
All right, here we go.
When someone tells you no, it doesn't really mean no. It just means ask me a different way on a different day.
That's a good quote. I like that one. I like that.
There you go. Put that on a T-shirt, Chris.
You betcha. I'm sure it's going to go very well with the Me Too movement or whatever. All right. Well, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you guys coming in. You're sticking around in Dallas for quite a bit, and then
I'm going to be coming back and forth, and we're increasingly going to extend our presence in the United States to open an office here and develop relationships and continue to keep an eye on our suppliers.
We call them the mole.
The mole, exactly. We got to step to the way.
I had to go open an office in Dallas then.
Yeah. No, we actually had him in office, remember? We were going to make a little office over there. So he's welcome to come by anytime.
Thank you very much.
So.
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.